Cold War had little to do with India and Tibet. Nehru faced a war and was dealt a sharp defeat. The results were clear. The eastern provinces became a part of China. Only the former autonomous region kept the name Tibet, a means of isolating it. Then came the continuation of the Chinese method. But the Chinese propaganda did not show the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people, of exhaustion and hunger. There was terror, torture, and rape. Monks were crucified, burned, and buried alive. Children were forced to kill their own parents. People fled across the mountains to escape the horror and the famine ravaging the country for more than 3 years. More than 100,000 people were able to join the Dalai Lama in India. At Dharamsala, he established a Tibetan government in exile, and on March 10, 1963, announced a democratic constitution. The violence and acts of resistance continued. They were known as the Special Border Force, a Tibetan underground commando unit trained and maintained by the CIA. Crossing a mountain pass, there was a moment for prayers. There was fighting and ambushes, typical partisan guerrilla warfare. For the Dalai Lama, this was not the right path. His message, broadcast on the radio, reminded Tibetans that violence was contrary to Buddhist principles and that he opposed it.
J'ai été très clair dès le début. Si les Tibétains choisissent la violence pour résister aux Chinois, alors je me retire de mes responsabilités.
During this time, the Red Guards reached Tibet. The last monasteries and temples still standing were razed to the ground. The Cultural Revolution continued another 10 years. It resulted in 1 million deaths, 1 out of every 6 Tibetan. These were the ruins of the monastery of Ganden, one of the largest, home to thousands of monks. An entire society and its culture were destroyed. In 1972, the Cold War was evolving. U.S. President Richard Nixon visited Beijing. China had become a member of the United Nations a year earlier. The uprisings, repression, and famine continued in Tibet. But the borders had to be opened slightly. The bamboo curtain had to be opened for a glimpse. For the first time, the Chinese authorized a visit by a group of Tibetans in exile. They had been waiting so long for this moment. The Dalai Lama's family was there. People came from faraway regions to see them, to touch them. Nothing had been forgotten. Never believe the Chinese, never. Tell the Dalai Lama not to come back.